going to go through is something that I will say a pretty profound statement. A lot of times I have to let people know in advance about my profound statements because they don't recognize them as profound. And so I'm letting you know, this is one of my profound statements. Is that I learned this when I was 18 years old, and I can say this has been one of the single most important thing that I've done to help me change my thinking. And hopefully it'll help you too. This is why I was able to go through so much, because I understand how my brain works. And once you're done today, you will understand how your brain works. Now what you do with it, if you learn this information and apply it, it can change your life. So it's called the 4 levels of learning, and this is section 3, the 4 levels of learning. And the first level is called the unconscious incompetent level. And you got notes there, so you want to make some notes of what this means, so you can really get this. It means you don't know what you don't know. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't know what you don't know. You just don't know. So there's going to be things in this training that you don't know. You just don't know them. But you don't know them. Does that make sense? That's the first stage of learning anything. You're right, exactly. That's a good spot to be in. You don't know. And that's one of the biggest problems with everyone. Well, not everyone. There's a lot of people that say, oh, I know. Okay, great. You know. I learned this statement years ago. To know and not to do is not to know. You don't know.
Say that again?
To know and not to do is not to know. So you don't know what you don't know. This is the first stage of learning anything. You're going to get some examples here in a moment. So that's the first stage your brain has to go through to learn any new information. The first stage is called the unconscious incompetent level. The second level that your brain goes through when it starts to learn something is called the conscious incompetent level. That means now you know what you don't know. You know what you don't know. You became aware of something. You don't know how to do it yet, but you're aware of it. That's a good spot to be in, is that you're aware of something new. Now the question is, are you going to take it to the next level? Which is the third stage, which is the conscious competent level, which means you know what to do, but you have to think through the process. It's a thought process. And most people in the world of sales or in business, they stay in this level. That's why you have 20% of the people doing 80% of the work in the business, is because the people that are at the next level I'm going to show you are the 20%ers, or the 5%ers in the world, really, because they get into another level. But the majority of the people in the world stay at this level right here, or worse, they stay at 2, or they go, I don't know what to do, I can't do anything in life because I don't know. With Google, guess what? Google's one of my best friends. I can learn anything with Google. Anything, just about anything. When I'm dealing with my camera, this camera right here, my camera, and I have film on there and I have video from years. You know why? I couldn't figure out how to get it off the camera. There's no tape, it's just on the camera. And I was sitting there one night, I was saying, man, I gotta empty this camera. How do I get the stuff off? I have my friend Google. So I typed in Google, how do you take off video off of this brand camera? And boop, a 14-year-old kid on YouTube came and showed me how to do it. He sat there and showed me how to do it, so I figured it out and I did it. I know how to build websites. I have a website called iTrack Sales Systems, and I built it from scratch from WordPress. I didn't know how to do it. Didn't need to know how to do it because there's other people that do. And with the internet, you can learn anything. You want to learn Spanish? Just go on there, download an app for free, and you can learn Spanish. It doesn't matter, French, German, Russian, whatever you want to learn. No more excuses anymore. But what people don't do is they don't think, because they don't understand how their brain works. That's why I don't say I can't do anything. Now, there's certain things you can't physically do. Like, no matter how much I try, there's no way I could be a world-class jockey. I just weigh a little too much. I'm 200 pounds. Can't do that, right? The horse will be broken down, donkey. It won't work. But if I wanted to be a jockey, I could shrink down to 160, which I'd look ridiculous if I did. But I could, and I could be the best jockey I could be if I really wanted to do it. Because all I had to do is go through the mindset and make the decision to do it. But the conscious, competent level is where you have to think through the process to learn new information until you get to the fourth stage, which is called the unconscious competent level. You're unconsciously competent. This is where you know what to do, but you don't have to think about it. This is where the wealth is in the world. This is where the successful people in your sales industry or your company are. They don't have to think about how to be successful. They just do it instinctively. They don't have to think about it. Give an example. When you were an infant, you didn't know what a shoestring was, right? Most people didn't know what a shoestring was. None of us did. We were all kids. You didn't know what a shoestring was. And you saw your mom or dad tying your shoe. You said, what are you? What are you doing? And you said, I'm tying my shoe. So you just, first when you didn't know what it was, you were in the first stage. But then you saw the shoestring being tied and you couldn't do it, and you're 2 years old, right? You went to the second stage. You knew what a shoestring is now, you couldn't tie a shoestring. And then remember the first time you ever tried to tie a shoe? You went down, and, okay, which way do I put this loop? I saw like 3 or something. Okay, right on this side, and trying to put it on this side, and trying to figure this thing out, right? One bow's big, and the other one's little, and it's kind of tied, but not really, right?
Still tied like that.
Yeah, you still tie like that. See what I'm saying? Perfect example, still in the third stage. Got it. See how that works? All right. But we get there, and then, but now you get older, you get, well, for all of us except her over there, we can just get down and tie our shoe. I don't have to think. I don't think about tying my shoe. I just tie my shoe. Because it's the fourth stage. Right? Make sense?
Yep.
Or driving a stick shift. When you're an infant, you didn't know what a stick shift was, never seen a stick shift, so you didn't know how to drive one. And then you got in your car and you said, okay, I'm going to drive a stick shift. Or actually, when you're a 2-year-old, you can say that. You said, Mom or Daddy, what is that? And you said, it's a stick shift. And so you couldn't drive one, right? Could you drive a stick shift at 2, 3, 4 years old? No. But you knew what one was. You were aware of the stick shift. Remember the first time you tried to drive a stick? Anybody know how to drive a stick shift in here? And what was the first experience like? Yeah, bucking up, bucking. You gotta roll the windows up, turn the radio off, don't talk to me. You gotta focus on the brake and gas. You gotta get that balance going so it can roll. My first experience driving a stick was in Hollywood. My sister had a Fiat, a great Fiat, and it was a broken down piece of junk Fiat. I mean, it was a really nice car, because you may see this video. Really nice Fiat, and me and my friends, Virgil and Eric, we were in this car, and we were going down Santa Monica Boulevard. No, not Santa Monica, La Cienega. And if you know La Cienega in Los Angeles, it goes up a hill when it gets to Hollywood, right? So we're in this car, and this car had a unique quality. It didn't like to stay on, and when it cuts off, you have to push start it. You know how that works, right? So I'm in this car the first time, my boy's in the car, we're out here, I'm 17 years old, we're driving down the street, and we're going up this hill, and now there's Mercedes, because it's Beverly Hills, Mercedes and BMW and Ferraris behind me, and I'm in this really nice Fiat, right? And so the car cuts off, up the hill. And so now what do? We have the emergency brake on, we're stuck, 3 guys in the car. So we have to pull this guy off the street, he's on a skateboard, and we get a bunch of cars behind us, we have to push the car up the hill and turn it around and roll back down so we can get going. And then it broke down again in front of a bus in Hollywood, and it was crazy. But the whole point was we were driving the car. I was driving, my first time doing it, right? I was going through the third stage. I was consciously competent. But now I can get in a stick shift. I haven't driven one for years and just go. Don't have to think. My mind clicked in. What about being a brain surgeon? How many people believe they can be a brain surgeon if you wanted to? I see a couple of you. Most of you don't, right? Well, what would be the first thing you have to do if you want to become a brain surgeon? Go to school, right? You got to go to school to be a brain surgeon, right? Wrong. That is not the first thing you have to do to be a brain surgeon. You have to make the decision to be a brain surgeon. No one's going to go to school, spend $300,000 to go to school to try it out and see if it's going to work. No, you make a decision before you become a brain surgeon. Same thing with your business. You have to make a decision that I'm going to build my business. That's it, period. I'm not going to just try it out and see what happens. I'm going to make a decision to do it. But then after you made that decision to be a brain surgeon, then you got to spend the $300,000, go to school for the next 15 years of your life, right? And then when you come out of school, are you a brain surgeon? Can you go do surgery? No. What do you got to do next? Intern. What did I call it? Residency. Interns. You got to go practice, right? And you practice on humans. It's unfortunate. That's why they call it practicing medicine, right? I want them to get it right. I don't want the guy practicing on me. I want the, yeah. So anyway, you're practicing medicine, you're doing this for a few months and a few years, and then you're trying to figure out the scalpel, and you're figuring it out, right? And then what happens after a few years? You can do brain surgery just like driving a stick shift. No big deal. Same 4 levels. It doesn't make a difference what it is. From a shoestring to brain surgery, it doesn't matter what it is. Your brain still goes through the same 4 levels. Give you an example. Everybody here, by show of hands, I'm going to just make sure. Everybody here know how to write their name. Or show of hands. You know how to write your name. Okay, great. I want you to write your name. Go ahead, write your name on your piece of paper real quick. Write your name. Write it right now. Sign it. Sign your name. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. With your other hand. With your other hand. Sign your name with your other hand. The opposite hand. Go ahead and sign that out. Quick. Sign it. It's your hand. Sign your name. Let me see here. You see that? Well, that's not bad. Let me see yours. You see that?
Oh, come on.
Wow, buddy. You look like a kindergartner. What's going on there? I'm not understanding. This doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's your hand on your body. Why can't you sign your name with your own hand? Why is that? I mean, it's your hand. You've had, I'm assuming, you've had your hand on your body your entire life. Am I right? And it's your hand, your body, it's your name. So I didn't give you anything unique to write. It's your name. Why can't you do it? How come you can't write that? Why?
You're used to doing it with the other hand.
Because you haven't learned how to do it with the other hand. Make sense? It's the same 4 levels you're going to have to go through to write with your other hand. Now, if you wanted to start learning how to write with your other hand and sign it well, what would you have to do starting today? What would be the first thing? No, you make the decision to do it. That's the first thing you do. You got to say, you know what? In a month, I'm going to learn how to write my name with just as good as I can with my other hand. That's the first thing you have to do is make that decision. And then what do? You start practicing the thing. You start writing every day a little bit. And guess what will happen in a month? You'll know how to write your name or whatever else you want to write. You'll be ambidextrous, I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
You know how to write with both hands. But it's a choice. Your brain has to go through the same 4 levels. It doesn't matter what it is. So the question is, can you build your business? Can you be successful at what you do? Can you be successful at what you do? What's gonna have to happen? The first thing you have to do is make the decision to be successful at what you do. That's the problem. Most people quit too soon. They don't make the decision to be successful, they try to be successful. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try it out. And I can already tell you in advance, if you try, you'll fail. It won't work because you won't stick with it long enough to make it work. Because you have to go through challenges first before you learn how to do it. If you're going to start signing your name with your other hand, is it going to look ridiculous at first? Yes. When you started trying to tie your shoe, was it, Cindy, I mean, still that way? Is it still wrong? It's big on one side and small on the other, right? Still that way, right? That's what happens, no matter what it is. Try to drive the stick shift, you have to buck first, right? Well, guess what? In your business, in your sales career, you're going to have to buck first. You're going to have the challenges first. You don't just try and then all of a sudden you're successful, and that's what people wait for. They say, okay, I'm going to try and see if I can make it work. Well, I can guarantee you, you're going to fail first. And if you haven't made a commitment and a decision to succeed, you won't succeed because you won't stick with it long enough. That's the challenge. That's why people fail in sales, in business, because they don't understand that they just have to go through the 4 stages. That's it. It's that simple. It really is that simple. That's why I was able to go through whatever business I wanted to, because I have no fear of doing it. The question is, do I want to do it? That's the only question I have to ask, because it's something I really want to do. And the bigger the decision, the bigger the dream, the more challenges you're going to have to go to get there. Took a long time, but look how big the dream is. Look how big it is. So guess what? I got to learn a lot of stuff. I got to become a different person. I got to get that dream so big so people will believe in it and will invest in it. Make sense? Yes, question.
Yoda.
Yoda, yes.
Try. Try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
Good, I like that. Yoda. Who's from that? Star Wars, right? I never saw Star Wars.
That was when Luke Skywalker was trying to raise this spaceship out of the swamp.
Uh-huh.
And he couldn't do it.
Really?
He says, I'm trying. And Yoda looked at him and said, try? Try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. I like that. I meant to dig that one up. But yeah, I'd like to watch Star Wars or something. Yeah, there's some good stuff from Star Wars. I never saw the Star Wars series, none of them, not one. I don't know why. For some reason, when there's a big movie and everyone talks about how great it is, I don't go see it. I never saw Star Wars. I never saw, what's some other big
Titanic?
Lord of the Rings stuff?
Oh.
Never
Harry
saw any of
Potter.
those. Harry Potter? Never saw a single one.
Never saw
Oh.
the Harry Potter.
For some reason, those gigantic movies that people blockbuster, I never go see for some reason. And I don't know what it is, maybe it's something with my psyche. I don't know what it is.
You do the
Level one,
opposite.
yeah.
You do the
Right,
opposite.
that's probably what it is, yeah. But anyway, we're at the 4 levels of learning. And this is a very important point that you gotta get. If you get this one thing from this training and you learn how to apply it in your life, it can dramatically change your life. Give you an example of what I mean.
Wow.
This is my daughter. My daughter's Jaden, and she's doing a pogo stick. And when she was, I think 6 or 7, I think 6 years old, I bought her this little pogo stick. She went to try because the neighbor was 16 years old, had a pogo, and she was out there pogoing. So I bought this pogo, and we were out there practicing one day. And I think this was right around the same time. Now, if you notice, she's pogoing here and pogoing here. Her hair is different, and she has no hands on it. And you'll see why in a second, because I taught her the 4 levels of learning. And we were out there one day, and I said, Jaden, you want to learn how to pogo stick? She said, yeah, I want to do it. And I said, okay, I want you to go for 10. She said, okay, I'll go for 10. And so she went for 10, she hit once and fall off, and or 1, 2, and then fall off, and 1, 2, 3, and fall off. And 5 minutes later, she hit 10. I said, great, I want you to go for 20. She said, okay, I'll try 20. And then she tried 20, and then after a while, she said, I can't do this. I said, you can do it, just keep trying. So she kept going, she kept doing it, and she'd hit 5, and then 7, and then 1, and then 3, and then 15, and then 3, and then she hit 20. And I said, okay, you're gonna go for 50. She said, 50? I can't do 50, no way. I said, you can do 50, trust me. She goes, okay. So I held her up first, and she'd go 1, hit 5, hit 7, hit 18, hit 5, hit 23, hit 24, hit 28, and then she'd go back to 2, and then she had 45, and then 3, and then 50. She had 50. I was like, great, now we're gonna go for 100. She's like, there's no way. I can't do 100, no way. I said, you can do 100. And she said, okay, I'll try. She trusted me. So she got on it. She hit 5, and then 20, and then 30, and then 50, and then 20, and then 75, and then 12, and then 18, and then 85. And then she did 95. And then she did 5, and then 7, and 19, and then she did 100. And then she did 150 at the same time. And then she kept going and hit 200. And then went to 300. And then she kept going and went to 400. And then she finally got to 500. And she kept going, went to 6, and then 7, and then 8, and she fell off at 963 pogos at 6 years old. How was that possible?
Her rhythm. She understood her rhythm, and once she found it,
It had nothing to do with rhythm. It had to do with the 4 levels of learning. She didn't know how to pogo. What happened is her brain kicked in automatically. She didn't find nothing. Her brain did. Her subconscious mind kicked in, and the only reason why she stopped because she got bored. She wanted to go play video games. It's the only reason she stopped. I ran in the house to look on the Guinness Book of World Records. I knew that was a record for a 6-year-old. It wasn't because they don't have a record like that. Everybody's in one category. But she could have kept going because her subconscious mind kicked in. With or without her, it had nothing to do with her. She didn't think about doing it. It just kicked. And that's what happens. And that was an easy goal. Pogo. But what about your business? What about your goal? You can do whatever you want to do. Your brain just has to go through those 4 levels to learn it. And I taught her how to do it. Another little example, same girl, because I teach this to her, I'm giving it to my son once he can comprehend, he's too young. But she wanted to learn, she wanted to do hula hoops. And I have a video, but I didn't want to bring it today, but she wanted to learn hula hoops. So I bought her hula hoops, she started practicing it. And at our house, we have a lake, and there's like a beach house. And every holiday, they have these contests where they, like beach contests and slam dunk contests and diving contests, and then they have hula hoop contests. And it's always adults, kids, all ages are in this contest. And so every year we've been going. And so she'd get in there and she'd like come into like 9th place and 10th place and 15th place. And then I taught her 4 levels of learning. She said, I'm gonna win this hula hoop. I said, I know you are. And so she believed she was gonna win. And then it was like July this year, she went to the 4th of July one, and she came like 3rd place. And she came 3rd place, and she was like, that's it. And I could see the look in her eye. She was mad, but she didn't say it. She didn't say anything. She had that mindset, I'm gonna make her eat those words. I'm gonna win. And And so then Memorial Day came. We went to Memorial Day. And she stood up there and she did that hula hoop. And she kept doing that hula hoop. And I got the whole thing on video. And she won ridiculous. She had 10 hula hoops doing it at one time.
Wow.
At the end after she won. And the only reason why they stopped her, she stopped is because they stopped her. Because it kicked into the fourth stage. It's the same thing. So if a 6 and 7 and 8-year-old, 9-year-old girl can learn it, can you learn it? So now one of two things are going to happen from this point. You're going to take this information and say, man, that was great information, that's awesome. Oh, I've learned that before, I've heard that before. And you're going to do nothing with it, it's going to sit on a shelf. And then you're going to be the same person you are and nothing's going to change. Or you're going to say, man, that information was profound. I'm going to learn it. And I only am going to learn it, I'm going to teach it to my family. I'm going to teach it to my kids. I'm going to teach it to my brother. I'm going to say it so often so I get it. So I don't ever have to have fear of anything. Because all I have to do is just go through the 4 stages. Make sense? Any questions on the 4 levels of learning? Okay, here's how you can use it to build your business. First thing you can do is there's no need now to be afraid of change, of learning anything. All you got to understand is that your mind just has to go through the 4 stages. I didn't know internet marketing. I didn't know anything about internet marketing. But I made a decision I wanted to do internet marketing. So I started listening to podcasts. I started listening to my friend Matt. I started, going on Google, asking my buddy Google, and just figuring it out. So now I'm starting to do internet marketing. Got together with Brad, and we're learning some stuff. I'm learning. But I don't have to be afraid to learn anything. If I want to learn a new skill, I know how to build websites now. If I want to learn a skill of anything, if I want to be a translator in Chinese, a Chinese translator, can I be a Chinese translator? Yes, I go download some free iPod apps to learn Chinese, and I can start practicing, get out there, let my mind go through the 4 stages, and I can learn how to do it. There's nothing you can't do. Nothing. You don't have an idea problem. You don't have a money problem. You don't even have a job problem. You have an idea problem. You don't believe you can do it. That was something that was wrong with me for years. I used to be an Aflac guy, like I mentioned, and I was one of the salespeople. I was a top producer in the sales industry in Aflac. But I never got to the top, where I was like number 1 in the company. I was like number 1 in my territory and stuff like that. And I believed I could do that. What I didn't believe I could be number 1 in the company for my team once I became a manager. I believed it could be done, but I didn't believe I could do it. Do you understand the difference between that? See, I knew someone could be top. I knew other people could be the top, but I didn't believe I could do it. And that might be your challenge right now. Maybe you're struggling financially. Maybe you have a challenge in your job. Maybe you're not the top producer in your company. Maybe you don't have a job right now. Maybe that's your situation. And you don't believe I can change, I can learn a new skill because I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too, whatever excuse you want to use. No, it's that you don't believe you can do it. Because there's people your age, your nationality, your size, your whatever background that's had worse situations than you that are accomplishing more. So if they can do it, why not you? So when I have like this situation, once I started learning this stuff and I got the difference between believing that it could be done versus I can do it, the last week of becoming a district manager, going to a regional manager, my team was number 1 in the company of Aflac because I made a decision to do that. And you can too. You can do it, but you have to believe you can do it. Because all you have to understand is you got to go through the 4 stages to learn anything. It doesn't matter what it is. The second thing you do is you understand that all you have to go through the 4 stages to learn anything. I just said that, didn't I? Yeah. So you don't have to be afraid to learn new things, but you also just understand that you just have to go through the 4 stages. But then the third step is the faster you go through the 4 levels, the faster you'll accomplish the goal. So like I give an example with my daughter. Now, what if I would have done 1 pogo with her a day? How long would it have taken her to learn how to do 963 pogos? It would have been a couple years. She would have never figured it out. See, and that's what happens when people try stuff out. They try it in, they put the big toe in, and they're going to test it out and see the water and see what happens. And they never dive in. And that's why I had to jump into those companies, because you couldn't know how good the company is until I'm in. So once I'm in, I'm seeing if it works. The company goes out of business, oh well, no big deal. I'll go find another one that looks just like it. That was my mindset. It didn't affect me, it helped me grow. So you have to take that chance. You have to be willing to do that. And the faster you go through the 4 levels, the faster it'll click for you. And it's up to you. That's why a lot of the time I jump in and I go for it full bore, because I understand I want to get through the 4 stages quickly. Why take forever? Make sense? Any question on the 4 levels of learning? Any question that's not clear on how to use this for yourself? Like I said, I don't care about anything else. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to teach you in this training, but if you learn this one technique and learn it and master it, it can change your life forever. Forever.